Hey friends, it's good to be with you again. Today we're going to talk about the letter V. Uppercase and lowercase, mama and baby V are twins. They look the same. I like to use my fingers to help me remember the letter V. Slide down, jump up, V. Va-va-va-room. Va-va-va-room is the sound of letter V. Our alphabet chart has a volcano. V, volcano. Volcano. Va-va-va-room. Do you know what says va-va-va-room? The first thing I think of is a van. We have a van on our magnet. Va-va-va-van. Vans, when they drive, say va-va-va-room. Va-va-va-room. I also think of tractors and trucks. Va-va-va-room, va-va-va-room. Pete the cat, construction, destruction. By James Dean. Recess, Pete shouts as the bell rings. But when Pete gets outside to play, oh no! The playground is a disaster. The swings are broken, the slide is rusty, and the sandbox is full of weeds. Pete makes plans for a new playground. Wow, says Principal Nancy. Can you really build that? Not by myself, says Pete. I'm going to need some help. Whatever you need, Pete, it's yours. Rumble, rumble, honk, honk, va-va-va-room, va-va-va-room. The next day, Pete arrives at the playground before school. The construction crew is already there. He gives them the go-ahead to tear down the old playground. Creak, crash, va-va-va-room. Down goes the slide. Clink, clank, va-va-va-room. Down go the swings. Bang, boom, down goes the tower. Honk, honk, va-va-va-room. A truck arrives to recycle the metal. Rumble, rumble, honk, honk, va-va-va-room. The new playground equipment has arrived. It's time to get to work. The cement mixer will pour concrete. The dump truck will bring sand and dirt. The backhoe will dig. The whole team will get the job done. Clunk, whack, thud, va-va-va-room. Building a new playground is hard work. The new playground is cool, but it's not cool enough. What do you think? Pete asks, holding up the latest plans. It will be too hard to build, says one of the workers. And everything is almost finished, says another. But it will make this the best playground ever, Pete says. Then let's do it, the workers say. Screwdrivers twist in screws, wrenches tighten the nuts. The workers try to make everything perfect. Hooray, the new playground is ready. Everyone is amazed until creak, creak, creak. Smash, crunch, thud. Oh no, says Principal Nancy as the new playground crashes to the ground. The pieces are all mixed up. Everyone is disappointed, except for Pete. It's not how we planned it, Pete shouts. It's even better. This playground is filled with surprises and places to explore. The school playground is the most amazing playground ever. Sometimes you've got to dare to dream big. Pete and all the construction workers drove their trucks with the sound va-va-va-room, va-va-va-room. You can color the letter V, making the va-va-va-room sound. You can pick your favorite color for the letter V. Try to stay inside the lines. You could even make rainbow colors as the V rooms away. And then the V is rooming through the dirt. So I'm going to make dust clouds behind the letter V. Don't forget to try to write your name on your paper. Carolee. Letter V says room. Have fun coloring letter V. One of the ways I remember letter V is to use my fingers. And when I see fingers, room, like this, I think of bunny ears. Bunnies, when they run room away from you, I can see their ears sticking up. I have another story I'd like to read you. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. I see his bunny ears. Based on the original art and story by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out." Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the woods to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuces and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe among the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, vroom, so that I think he might have gotten away altogether if he had not, unfortunately, run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears. But his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows who flew in to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop on top of Peter, but Peter wiggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him, and rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. "Kerchoo!" Mr. McGregor was after him in no time and tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp from sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity, not very fast, and looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the woods. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his watering can. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still, but now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scritch, scratch, scratch, scritch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned toward Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some of the black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him until he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down on the nice soft sand on the floor and the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter, 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. Little bunnies va-va-va-va-room away from Mr. McGregor. Now we get to rainbow write the letter V. My page has a vest. A vest is like a jacket without sleeves. Sometimes people wear vests to keep them warm or to look cool. Vest. I also have a volcano on my paper. Rainbow writing, remember, is 5 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can choose any colors you wish. Letter V starts on the left at the top. I slide down, jump up, V. And lowercase v is just the same. Slide down, jump up, V. Slide down, jump up, V. Slide down, jump up, V. I have 1, 2, number 3. Slide down, jump up, V. Slide down, jump up, V. You can say the way to write it, sliding down, jumping up, or you can make the sound, va-va-va-room. Slide down, jump up, V. Va-va-va-room. You can always do more than 5, but you have to do at least 5 colors. Slide down, jump up, V. And then you can color your volcano with the hot lava flowing down. And you can color your vest, vest. Letter V. Va, 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 va. Va, 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 room. Va, 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 V. It's good to see you. See you next time.